This has been a long-awaited fight, but Carlos Adamus versus Janibek and Kumanali is now being talked about as being a fight that could be finalized any minute now. Could be a done deal, almost a done deal, as Carlos Adamus says. But this is a fight that's been in the mix for a minute now. I know that Hamza Shiraz was actually a mandatory for Janovic. And at the time, people said that Shiraz was ducking Janovic. I think this was actually last year around this time. And Janovic actually had went another direction because he had fought a similar fighter, I think around the same promoter or domestic. I think it was like a UK guy that he ended up trying to fight next. But ended up fighting another direction, but it wasn't Hamza Shiraz. And Shiraz ended up fighting Carlos Adamus, which happened to be the fight that everybody's seen. And then they said that Hamza Shiraz was not good at 160 before he got this KO by Berlanga, over Berlanga. But Terence Crawford fighting at 160 was always an idea that I kept going across because Janibek was going across the idea of, I will fight Canelo. I'm waiting on the Canelo fight. And then recently, talks was about Shiraz fighting Canelo instead of Janibek. And I said that if Terence Crawford gets his win over Canelo, he could possibly fight Janibek at 160. If Adamus and Lara can get this fight next. But who knows? And now we see Adamus fighting Janovic. That's going to be 3 belts in one fight. This is huge. Huge. Janovic already has 2 belts. Adamus has another. I thought that maybe they would try to have Lara and Adamus fight at some point because Janovic wasn't fighting at any point another champion. Lara and Janovic was never talked about. It was more so Adamus. Even though Lara just got the belt recently, it wasn't a belt he always had, so that's why the conversation hasn't been as long as Adamus versus Janovic has. But Janovic, this is a huge fight for him. I feel like he's getting big for the weight class. He's a big guy, but he's been slimming down recently to where he's not adding on too much weight. I guess he was probably getting overweight at a certain point, but he looks slimmer recently, so I don't think the weight's an issue right now, but at a certain point, that will become a conversation. He's already an older fighter. Not old, but he's in his early 30s, mid-30s. So he's getting to that point where he has to have a big fight. Carlos Adamus is not getting younger either. Couple of years, they'll be the older fighters in their weight classes. So they got to try to make a big fight immediately. And they're both in their prime, trying to make this fight happen. It could lead to a Terence Crawford fight, which would be huge for any of these guys. I thought that would always be a great idea because Terence Crawford at 54 should have been a done conversation as far as undisputed a long time ago. And I felt like that was a missed opportunity. And I felt like he always can get 140, 147, 54, and then possibly 68. But now it looks like it could be 60. And the thing that kind of tricks everything is Golovkin coming back saying he wants one more fight. Could him and Janovic make a run at this 160 thing, or would Golovkin have an opportunity at 160? Would fans want to see Golovkin fight a guy at 160 or Terence Crawford? Just throwing that idea out there. I don't know, because he's having one more fight, so I don't know if people would take that realistic. I know Triple G always is in great shape. If he fights, he's going to be professional, take it very serious. But, that could be an idea to just get thrown out there because we've heard guys like Klitschko returning before the whole Usyk and Fury thing started to drag on. There's a lot of scenarios being thrown out there, but Golovkin did say he would have one more fight. I said a couple, like last year, that he said he wasn't retired and that he was still in the mix. I think this was before Turkey started the whole Riyadh season all the way. Might have been before Otto Wallin versus Joshua that Golovkin was still saying he was unretired. But we'll see. But this whole scenario at 160 is definitely pushing boxing in a whole nother direction. I thought Terence Crawford would possibly retire. Then earlier this year, I heard some rumbles about him possibly not shutting it down all the way, still having some kind of fire burning for boxing. But who knows, man? Any day, a guy could just go another direction. But as far as I know, he still wants to keep the ball rolling. Bomac said we're going to get back in the gym. And when he says that means they still in that mode as far as being great. Until they shut it down or decide to, it's going to keep boxing, still being great. This is definitely something that a lot of people are not doing in boxing, man. This is going to be hard to duplicate what Terence Crawford has done already. Might not ever be done again, especially the way these guys are mixing it up now. This is becoming a lot more normal thanks to the mega clash he just had with Canelo. Huge fight that could lead to other things. But if I see Golovkin, like I said before, people didn't really see this coming. Golovkin, I knew Golovkin had one more fight in him. I just don't know what direction it's going to go in. But for him to be a guy who's at 60 and Janibek about to fight at 160, Janibek could lose his next fight, be out the mix, and Triple G can be like, you know what? Let me go ahead and take my chance at 160 real quick. Did say he had one more fight. That could be a scenario because for him to just throw that out there now, I think that it would possibly take probably early next year for him to get in real decent shape. But he's been slimming down, it looks like. Like even in this picture, this was months ago. But he's a lot smaller than he was beforehand, starting to look like he's still getting there. So who knows? I know as far as fitness, as far as boxing and fitness, if anybody comes in the best shape they can, it's definitely going to be Triple G. So with Golovkin being able to still have one more fight to have, you know it's going to be probably through Turkey on the sheet. If he's going to have one more fight, why not? The man don't fight in nothing but big fights like that. If it's not going to be, especially on a big platform that's new, we know that he was one of the guys that still had one of the biggest fights on the zone to this day. So, yeah, he's looking for a big fight, big opportunity. But 160 is, I told people last year, people was like 54. I said 160 is the next division. I said it's going to be 160. It's starting to get there. Definitely starting to get there. If Shiraz was still around, still it would have been a bigger buzz, but with Crawford being involved in 160, it just makes it even bigger. But that's all I got. Like and subscribe.